So this video is for you if you are somebody that is all in or you are totally all out in love. You are somebody that eats the whole plate and everything on it because you believe that. Or you totally restrict yourself, you starve yourself and you deprive yourself. When you get a load of money, you then totally spend it all and then you go into scarcity and you save and you hoard. This video is going to absolutely be pivotal and I'm going to talk you through why you do it, but also I'm going to give you some bits and pieces you can do with reparenting where you can actually change the cycle and you can actually learn to heal those parts of you forever. So this cycle is actually known as feast and famine, and you would have learned this as a child in some way or as a teenager because you would have come to a point in life where you would have understood that you either got everything or you got nothing. How many of you here today were told to absolutely clear the plate and be thankful for the food that you had? Or maybe you were like me and you were deprived of food or you were starved of food because you were naughty and you were sent to your room. You could also have the same when it comes to money. So you may have seen mum and dad come into a huge amount of money, or a grandparent or someone. They would have spent it, got the house done, and then they would have had absolutely nothing. And maybe, again, like me, you were somebody that grew up on charity shop clothes and you never ever looked good. You always had holes in your clothes, etc. What's happening here is that your body and your nervous system has become so used to this cycle in your life that you continue on what we call autopilot. And you do it because that is your inner child in control of your experience or another part of you. And when you learn to actually start doing something which we call reparenting, and you actually learn to work with your inner child, you understand that this cycle is up to you to end and it's up to you to change. And it doesn't mean that you've always got to be in the feast and the famine, because I bet you it drives you crazy, right? Isn't that why you clicked on this video? It drives you nuts that you are all or nothing. You are spending or you're saving every single penny because you're petrified and you're worried. Are you one of those people that you get some money and you like literally buy your food, you hoard your food? How many of you have started canning, you're preparing for the end of the world? All of those things that you're doing, they are all because of the trauma that you experienced in a child. And trauma doesn't have to have been like a massive occasion in your life. It can simply be a situation where something was not enough or it was too much for your inner child. And your inner child's job back then, even the stuff that you don't remember, their job is to actually keep playing that pattern on repeat over and over in your life until you actually take control and you start to become the parent that you needed that you didn't have back then. That's when things are going to massively land and change for you. So let's talk about how that's actually showing up in your life right now. So let's take food, for example. Okay, so you would have either had everything or you would have had absolutely nothing. You would have been told to, like I said, you've been told to absolutely clear the plate and be very thankful for the food that you had, or you would have gone without food. And what happens as an adult, what we do is we continue that cycle over and over. And the reason you are doing that is because you learned that food was not guaranteed. Hear those words. Your inner child learned that they need to eat everything on the plate, and that's why you do that now. And that's why you'll overfill your plate when you go to a carvery, because your inner child is going, oh, we can have all of this food right now on this plate because you're paying one price, for example. That is a typical classical inner child thing that is happening in your life. If you are stuff, oh my god, it's free. How many of you go to a buffet? How many of you go to an all you can eat and you want to have as much as you can, because actually that's your inner child in control that has learned that actually when you get a lot, you've got to have an awful amount of food because you've paid the money, right? You've paid that price. And then when it comes to money, you either hoard and you buy because you've got all that stuff, or you are absolutely getting rid of everything. You are selling the last, shirt off your button, whatever it is, because you just are panicked and you're worried about money. And when you get into that whole money and that scarcity, as you know, if you are someone into law of attraction and manifestation, when you're in lack, the universe has no choice but to actually continue to show you lack. And then if we look at relationships, you either give yourself completely in every single way or you are completely checked out. How many of you are hot and cold? How many of you are, oh my God, this is the love of my life. This is incredible. The first sign that something goes wrong in the relationship, you start to emotionally withdraw. You don't mean to, but you start to go cold when you were hot. You ghost people, you start blocking people, or even better still, because you're unhealed, you give people the silent treatment because for you, silence is easy and having to actually be confrontational or actually say what it is that you feel. And then if we look at work, work is either you are all in and you are work, 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 and then you hit burnout and you end up in avoidance, or you don't want to do anything and you're in procrastination because you're like, well, I don't want to go and do that. And you find all the excuses under the sun as the reason to not switch on your laptop or not go to work or not do whatever. This is how the feast and famine cycle is showing up in your life on an everyday basis. And the most frustrating part for you is this continues on and on and on. But what is important when we learn reparenting is we learn we need to find the middle ground. We need to teach ourselves actually what is safe. And we need to find that place inside of ourselves where we're able to go, okay, that is just enough. And that comes from constantly connecting with your inner child. That comes from first off making them feel safe. For me, when you make your inner child feel safe, that's the game changer in reparenting. Safety is where it's consistency. Consistency means you show up for your inner child day in, day out, week in, week out, and you are the person they needed back then that they maybe didn't have. So once you make your inner child feel safe, that's when you can do reparenting. That's when you can do things like you can learn, if we look at food, you can learn that actually this is what it feels like to feel full. And this comes, if we want to use food as an example here, this comes from you actually being present when you're eating your food. How many of you actually rush, rush, rush and gobble, gobble, gobble because you're afraid, you need to heat it hot or whatever? You will have so many stories playing out in your life because, again, that is your inner child in control of the food. So when we reparent, we actually go, okay, I'm getting to the point where I feel full. And then what we do is we then go, okay, I'm just going to walk away for a little bit and you can always reheat that food. But the important part is you say to your inner child, and you say, hey, sweetheart, I want to let you know that right now, we've had enough. And if you're in a child, and you feel that, oh my God, like, what is happening, that's where you learn to be that very loving and nurturing parent. And you literally turn around and you go, it's okay. I want you to know that there's loads more. I want you to know that there's more where that came from. That will really help you around the food bit specifically with reparenting. And then when it comes to money and reparenting, what we do is we understand when we get money, and as I gave to a client in a session a few weeks ago, what we do is we then create drawings. So we don't spend it all in one go. How many of you, I don't know if this is true for any of you, but you get £10,000 in a bonus and you've already got plans for that. You've already spent all of it. However, actually, as I coached a client with, I was like, well, why don't you actually pay yourself £1,000 extra for 10 months? And then you're actually getting the benefit of that rather than going to buy that thing and then it breaks or it goes wrong or something. That's a great way of finding the middle ground, especially when you get a huge amount of money. And then when it comes to work, a great way of reparenting around that is understanding that you set yourself goals for the week, but you actually tell your inner child your goals for the week. That's what I do. Every single Sunday, I have a business meeting with myself and I have my parts and I literally show my inner child what the plan is for the week. And for me, I actually put it in my calendar and I actually say, okay, I'm going to plan to do that day. Because one of the things that I learned from a coach, Lewis, that I worked with was what you don't plan, you don't achieve. So if you don't put it on the calendar, you're not going to do that. And what is important, and this is what I do with reparenting with my own inner child that I'm sharing with you today, is I actually sit with her and I say, hey, okay, that's my inner child's name, by the way, she's 4. This is our plan for the day. And I say to her that, we're going to go for a dog walk in the morning because I always do. And then we're going to come home, probably do a meditation. And then we're going to, do some work. And then we're going to plan for lunch, etc. That is meeting in the middle. And it's also really important that when you are reparenting, when it comes to work, that you say to your inner child, it doesn't matter who it is at work. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of what you've achieved in this moment. I'm really proud that you did that. I did a recent presentation, for a load of people, and I literally turned around and I went, I'm so proud of you, okay? I am so proud of you that you were able to give that presentation to all of those people. Well done. And that's you being the soft, gentle, nurturing inner parent when it comes to looking at work. And then when it comes to in a relationship, when we reparent, when we're talking about feast and famine and finding that middle ground, that's you constantly keep in touch. And that is you when you catch yourself, you're reading that message too many times, maybe you've got an anxious attachment. What you'll catch yourself doing is you literally say to your inner child, hey, it's okay. It's okay that that person hasn't replied just yet. It's okay, sweetheart. I'm still here for you. No matter what happens, my darling, I've got you. Hey, it's okay that that person hasn't replied to that message. I'm here. Daddy's here, mummy's here, whatever you want to call yourself. Or maybe you just start with your name and you just say, hey, my name is Shelley. I'm here for you right now. Hey, my name is Steve. I've got you, buddy. But that's where it comes to really meeting in the middle. And this is where reparenting is amazing. It's not therapy. Reparenting is where we actually look at our patterns and we use our 3-step approach, which I always teach all of my clients. Number one, we become very aware of what it is that we do. Awareness for me is the first key in healing. Step two, we catch ourselves when we're doing those things and we go, okay, I'm doing that thing again. And step three, we choose something different. We choose an alternative approach of where we want to go and do, make a change. So rather than always doing the same thing on autopilot, we have the awareness. I do that thing. Number two, I'm going to catch myself doing that. Number three, I'm going to actually journal. I'm going to investigate. And I'm going to look a bit further as to why it is that I'm doing that. So one of the things that I've been personally working on, which probably also could be true for you, has been my emotional eating. And what I've managed to do is work with all of my different parts. And I'll link a video just up here all around binge eating for you and how I did it. Was I've been working with 5 parts of me. And the middle ground is actually I've got to the place with my inner child and also Christian, who is the feeding part of me. Like I say, watch that video, it'll make a huge amount of sense. I've actually got to the point where I can have biscuits and chocolate in the house because I don't need to worry about not having it. And that's another video that I'll make for you is I can't have it in the house. I'll make that for you later this week. But what I want you to know is when you do hit that middle ground, that's where you're reparenting and you're teaching your inner child and other parts of you that you're safe. That's massive. And your life is going to continue playing out the same pattern and the same dynamic day in, day out. And you're the only person that can change that. That's where reparenting makes all the difference. And you come from being that loving parent. You see how soft and tender I am. That's where you're looking to get to. You're looking to be the, hey, it's okay. It's okay that we did that again. It's okay that we did that. But what we do is we start to take accountability. We stop blaming other people. We stop playing the victim and we start going, okay, this is my life. It's my responsibility to change my life. Anyway, that's the feast and famine cycle. There's some great suggestions there around reparenting. And just beneath here in YouTube on the description, there is loads and loads of tools. Come and join my community. We are making massive changes over there. Beautiful space and some lovely people. And I share loads of techniques and tips and bits and pieces. So maybe, just maybe, it could be a really good space for you. And if you don't want to comment, you just want to watch, you just want to lurk, why not come along, pop along? It's totally free. Anyway, that ends this one just here for you. I really hope it has helped you in some way. And I will just link up my playlist up there full of all loads of videos around inner child and parts work that I know is going to help someone like you. I hope this helps. Take care. Cheers to that. Bye-bye.